Hello everyone and welcome to the ROKER RAPPORT Player Ratings podcast in association with Sunderland Community Soup Kitchen, where Sunderland have won 3-0 away to Wimbledon at the lovely Powell Lane Stadium. I'm joined by Connor Bromley. How are you doing?
Good, much better after seeing Sunderland win 3-0 away. Pretty happy.
Yeah, a lot better after the last 5 minutes anyway. It wasn't a great game up to then. Rich Spade was also joining us. How are you?
I'm all right, yeah. I had a nice long walk at lunchtime and then straight up here for the game. So, yeah, it was a bit underwhelming as a performance, but you can't really argue with 3-0, can you?
Certainly not. No, I mean, like I say, it wasn't the greatest of games, but you've got to take wins over performances, especially at this stage of the season. So, yeah, really chuffed. We'll crack on straight away with the 3-word review. On Twitter, we've got James Heppel, Charles Goat Wyke, Goat Wyke even. We've got P.S. Smith, perfectly executed plan. Cameron Johnson, 11th to 5th. Rober, Charles Thomas Wyke, there's a fair few of them, like. Paul, SH, thank fucking Christ. I think we can all kind of agree with that one. Adam Guest, sought Willis's contract. Kenton Schweppes, very flattering result. Michael Cowell with a Charlie Wyke hat-trick. Right, so Connor, I mean, we'll quickly crack on into Charlie Wyke hat-trick. I mean, you never saw that coming on the 86th minute, did you?
No, definitely didn't see him getting a hat-trick. I think that Wyke has came in for a lot of criticism. I think a lot of that criticism is sort of implanted in us from how bad his first 2 seasons were at Sunderland, and I think we it's the same sort of thing that happens to a lot of players we signed. Conor McLaughlin kind of had this as well this season, whereby he was brought in. We had an opinion formed from his early start, which wasn't great. The same thing's happened with Wyke, but even though there's frustrations with him as a player, I think as a target man, he doesn't hold up the ball brilliantly. He sometimes isn't involved very much, and you sometimes think that he isn't as brave as he could be. His goal return this season's been superb, and today all the goals were well taken. The first one was just being in the right place, positional. It's what you want from a striker. The second one was a beautiful finish, that's something I didn't think he would have had in his locker, that kind of finish. And then the third goal was, a well-timed run in behind and a sort of dink over the top of the keeper. So 3 different types of goals, not goals you'd associate really with him. And you can't do anything but praise him and praise him all season. It's been a hard year, for Sunderland with Phil Parkinson in charge, but he's flourished and he's continuing to flourish now under Lee Johnson.
Do you think it'd be better, Rich, that he kind of played with O'Brien with him today? Do you think that kind of brings the best out of Charlie? Because yeah, we all know that he's got his misgivings. He's not a fantastic footballer, but he has been this season lethal in the box. So that kind of makes it a little bit better, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously O'Brien's a better technician. He's a better footballer all round. But I think Wyke, he needs somebody else up there with him. And he seems to have benefited from that. He probably benefits from the opposition having somebody else to look after, like at set pieces or when the ball's coming into the box like it did for the first goal. He can get free. The defenders have got another body that they have to deal with, and he seems to be benefiting from it. I mean, that second half performance, we'll go into player ratings and that, but the second half performance, up until he scored his second goal, I'd literally written "who" on my notes next to Charlie Wyke's name, because he hadn't touched the ball. I think in the second half he touched the ball like 4 times, I think, and scored 2 goals. So you can't complain in terms of him doing his job. Absolutely fantastic. And he divides opinion. There's been a big debate going on, I'm sure, amongst all groups of Sunderland fans today about his relative merits. But you can't argue with a hat trick. You got to give him credit where credit's due.
Do you remember the debate that was always happening a couple of years ago with Josh Madger? That all Josh Madger does was score goals. That was always like everything on Twitter. I'd be happy for Charlie Wyke. All he does is just put the ball in the back of the net, because he's proven it now. Like, that's 11 goals in the league this season. It's a really good return. It'll put him into, like, you would say, the top 7 or 8 in League One. That's all you want from him, really. I mean, we'll go into his first goal, Connor. A nice little goal, actually. Nice play by Elliot Embleton to play the ball through to Aidan O'Brien. Good ball across, and Wyke bundles it in. It's a good start for Sunderland.
Yeah, and I think you kind of saw the benefit there of having Elliot Embleton playing. He's been a player that I've kind of championed for the last couple of years. Last year, unfortunate with a hamstring injury, which pretty much ruled him out for the season. He came back this year, though. He's had a bit of a slow start, it's fair to say, but I think, he played 58 minutes, but I thought he was Sunderland's best player. And then 58 minutes, I was surprised when he came off. And the quality for that goal, where he controlled it really well in tight corners, and then he managed to play the ball through to Aidan O'Brien, and Aidan O'Brien with a decent assist, good wherewithal to find his strike partner. I think you'll see with Charlie Wyke as well, one of the things he's benefiting from, we touched on it before, but it's more players in the box. Very difficult for a striker to be open if there's two centre-halves who can watch him and mark him the whole time. So he's benefiting greatly from that. And that goal kind of came through us creating chaos in the Wimbledon area, putting men forward. And at this level, I think chaos is a great way of scoring. You don't have to be brilliant, scintillating football. It just needs to be, putting the defence under pressure.
Yeah. Rich, had your hand up there. Have you got something to add?
Yeah, the thing about that goal, I know Johnson was talking the other day about the fact that we score a lot of goals or we create a lot of our chances down the wings, and he wanted to see us playing through the middle of the pitch more and creating chances that way. And that ball, that goal was not down the wing. It was through the middle of the box, and I think that was something that's probably come from the training pitch. That move started from a free kick from Scowen playing it to Ledbetter and playing it forward to Embleton to get on the edge of the box and be in that tight corner and play the ball over the top. That looked like you might say it's a bit of chaos, but it looked like something that had been practiced in terms of how to get the ball at the edge of the box and create space in behind. So it was impressive. I was quite impressed with that.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, it was a good start, but we didn't really build on it, did we? In the first half, we let Wimbledon get back into the game. They had a couple of shots that were routine saves with Burge, but I was really surprised kind of that we didn't really push on at all. We kind of just sat back, didn't we? And it wasn't really it didn't make for a great first half and a great game, really.
No, I mean we scored the goal, and then for 80 minutes it was reminded me very much of a Phil Parkinson performance. It was there's plenty of effort in there and plenty of running about, but no real quality, I wouldn't say desire, but it just felt as though we were kind of going through the motions. I think Danny Collins pointed that out in commentary as well. He said that it felt like we were going through the motions. But the one difference, just if we're going to draw back onto Phil Parkinson for a second, is I don't think Phil Parkinson would have made as positive substitutions. Mcguire came on, Diamond came on, Winchester came on as well. But I think under Parkinson, we probably would have seen Sanderson come on and maybe Luke O'Nien, more defensive players. And I felt that them positive changes, they're what got with the goal. Mcguire came on for O'Brien, and I think even Diamond coming on just caused, as I said before, chaos for Wimbledon defensively. So I think the substitutions were certainly the ones towards the end of the game were good, and that's what kind of turned the game for us. Because you're right, there was not much particularly happening. That game could have easily finished 1-0, 1-1, or 1-0 to Wimbledon. It was a nothing game until we got them 2 goals at the end.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying to kind of create stuff, Wimbledon. I mean, they're not the greatest of footballing sides. I think Pickett's a good player for them, actually. And but I thought our defence today was a lot better. Bailey Wright with Jordan Willis. I mean, Rich, for me, that's the partnership to go forward. I know Sanderson's been very unlucky to be dropped today, but for me, that's the partnership. It's strength. You got Willis, who's the footballer out the two. Bailey Wright can just control everything at the back. For me, that's the best two. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, they're the experienced footballers, both being club captains at the previous clubs, and they look really, really comfortable today. They look completely untroubled for most of the game. I know they got a couple of shots from outside the box off, but to be frank, they were dominant in the air. They made tackles when they needed to. And like you say, Willis looks really comfortable bringing the ball out of defence as ever. It's one of the nicest sights in this current Sunderland squad when Willis has got the ball at his feet and he's bringing the ball out, because it's putting us on the front foot. The rest of the defence as well, I thought, was reasonably solid at the back. We'll go into player ratings. I thought Powell was probably much better going forward than Mcfadyen, who was very wasteful. But overall, they didn't really trouble us. It just got really scrappy for that middle section of the game.
Yeah, I agree. So on to the 86th minute now, because nothing happened up until then, literally. No. We get a corner, and Grant Ledbetter puts. It's not the greatest of corners from Grant, to be honest, but it's a really, really good run across the box from Charlie Wyke, and a lovely little half volley into the corner of the net. And that's game over from then, Rich. Great finish.
Yeah, it was really nice. He hit it crisply. He seemed to place it almost a side-footed volley, and a good bit of movement that created that. I don't know whether it was a corner routine that they'd practiced, It did look like a bit of a scuffed corner, but the space was there at the front post. And again, Johnson's talked about movement across the front post when the ball's coming in, and Wyke over the last few weeks has done that, and that's where he's been picking up his goals a lot of the time. And so it was nice to see. He didn't panic, he didn't blaze it. His technique was nice, and again, his technique is not always the greatest. And so it was a nice surprise.
Yeah, and he finished it off lovely, Connor, with a great goal at the end, a nice ball through from Josh Scowen, and a little dink over the goalkeeper, as what we've mentioned. I mean, that's just confidence, isn't it? Straight away.
Yeah, how often have I, over the last 2 and a bit years, seen Charlie Wyke get in behind a defender and finish? I literally can't think of an example. I can think of a few he's missed, but I can't think of many that he's put away.
Ooh. I think there was one against Bristol Rovers at home.
I was just about to say that when he rounded the keeper, but even then he looked like he was going to fall over, didn't he?
Yeah, the whole time.
But I think, we haven't really touched on the formation, but I think that formation we played today was interesting because it was essentially, to me, it felt like he kind of put the team into like sections. It was, 4 at the back, but the 2 centre-backs stayed. The 2 full-backs could push forward, and they were quite fluid in the sense that Max Powell would come a little bit more inside, and they were both had, full room to go forward. And then you've got the 2 holding midfielders, but then the 2 attacking midfielders constantly changing position. You couldn't say where they were playing, in terms of a defender, though that must be difficult if you're a fullback, not knowing if you're coming against Embleton and Mcgiddy. And then the 2 strikers up front, I mentioned causing chaos for Wimbledon, but I think, when we were getting forward, that whole front 4 just did that because they were all interchangeable. And I think that's an interesting formation for Sunderland going forward because we haven't really seen that. We've been very wing-based, and to be honest, we've played complex systems. The 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3 or whatever you want to call it is a complex system. You've got wing-backs who have to do 2 jobs. You've got extra midfielders in the middle, which I think was causing problems for us because they didn't know which ones were going, which ones were staying. I don't think there was that synergy in there, and I think to play 3 at the back, you have to have the right players to do it. And I don't think we've ever really had that. I think we have to have a fully fit squad and have Willis really on his game to fill that right side with Luke O'Nien. And it's difficult to play. I think when it works, it's good, but consistently 3 at the back's difficult at this level. So I think today, Lee Johnson's probably stumbled upon what's going to be his formation going forward, certainly away from home, because I think it's very difficult to deal with going forward. And I think we've got the capabilities defensively to have 4 players kind of just in attacking positions. So I thought the formation today was interesting. I thought when I saw it, I was like, I thought he was going to have O'Brien on the wing and maybe Embleton in the middle, playing sort of a 4-5-1 or a 4-3-3. But the 4-2-2-2 was, I think it was a masterstroke, and I think it's a formation I would like to see us play more.
Yeah, I mean, it proved me wrong massively, to be honest, because I'd put in a text with my family, like, I wasn't a fan of the formation, to be honest. I wasn't a fan of, it was just mostly with Jack Diamond not getting the games. I thought it was very harsh, but, lo and behold, we've won 3-0, so what do I know? But yeah, what you've said there is interesting, Colin. I'll ask you this, Rich. Do you think that's long-term, our formation now, with the 2 up front and the 2 holders in midfield?
It could well be. I think having the defensive 4 gives us a lot more options in terms of how we can play going forward, and the positions of the forward players can be a bit more fluid. Like you say, Connor, because of the fullbacks not necessarily having to do 2 jobs in that formation. And one thing I noted from today's performance, there wasn't much to write home about in terms of the attacking play for a good chunk of the game, but Mcgiddy, O'Brien, Diamond when he came on as well, all worked hard getting back. They all put a shift in. I think there was one occasion when we were at 1-0 when Aidan O'Brien made an interception on the edge of our own box when they were breaking, and that interception, his bit of positioning and his work to get back might have well actually, give us that result. It's in these small margins, these moments when games are won and lost, and it obviously gave them the freedom to work back as well as be fluid when we were attacking. We did look attacking when we broke in that last 10 minutes. We did look dangerous. Obviously, you're going to, but we had the players on the pitch, like Connor said. You made positive substitutions that you can finish your game off, and you don't end up losing it in the last 2 minutes in injury time through a mistake. They hit the post in injury time, and in previous era, in the Parkinson era, that could have gone in off the post, and we would have drawn a game 1-1. That we'd been dominant. I mean, we weren't troubled. That's the one thing that I take away from that performance. Very comfortable. It wasn't spectacular, despite the scoreline, but very comfortable.
Yeah, agreed with that. So we'll rattle on at the player ratings. I'll start, as I usually do, with Lee Burge. Thought he did very well in what he had to do, again, which wasn't much, but made a couple of relatively easy enough saves for him in the first half, but then in the second half, very, very brave to come out to a lad who was going around and took another whack onto his knee. I thought was excellent goalkeeping, to be honest, so I've given him a 7. Plus, he looks hard as nails now with that black eye. Absolutely fantastic. We'll go on to Max Power, Rich, and right back. Looks comfortable again.
Yeah, really comfortable. I mean, he was better first half than second half, I think. He was more involved. I've given him a 7. I thought he looks really good there, actually, and his quality of ball into the box is a step up from having, Conor McLaughlin.
Yeah, it is a lot better than Conor McLaughlin's. Yeah, 100% agree with you. That's a lot better delivery. Right, so left back, Callum Mcfadyen, Connor.
I didn't think he had a great afternoon. He didn't particularly do much wrong, but wasteful going forward. Felt that he didn't particularly link up well with the other forward players. I've given him a 6, which might be a little bit too kind, but it's a clean sheet at the end of the day, and he's part of that unit, so I don't want to mark him too harshly, so a 6.
Yeah, steady of steady 6s. I'll go for Bailey Wright. I've given Bailey Wright a 7. I thought he marshalled our defence very well, made a couple of very good interceptions, never really let Pickett get away from him or get on the wrong side of him, as what he's been doing in the last few games with other players. But yeah, welcome return to form for him. And we'll go to Jordan Willis, Rich.
Really comfortable, like I said before, and very similar to Wright in terms of his performance. I've given him a 7.
Mm-hmm. Spot on. Right, Grant Ledbetter, Connor.
I've given him a 6, but it's possibly harsh because I felt we actually did do well in that midfield battle today. I think we generally controlled the ball, so it was more. Well, I got an assist as well, didn't he? Maybe I should mark him up to a 7. No, I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7 for the assist.
Good. I've given him a 7, so that's good. Yeah, I thought it was really good today. Oh no, I'm going to mark down for Josh scoring. Despite his assist at the end of the game, I just thought he was poor. I think he wastes the ball a lot, and I just don't see what he gives us in that midfield what Elliot Embleton doesn't. So long term, I'm possibly thinking it's going to be Elliot instead of Josh scoring, to be honest. But good assist, but he just doesn't do enough for me. Speaking of Elliot Embleton, Rich, you can have him.
Well, he came off quite early in the game. But so his second half mark, I don't think it's really fair. He's only on the pitch for 12 minutes. I've given him a 7. I thought he looked really good in the first half. I'm not quite sure why he was the one chosen to come off. But I've given him a 7. I thought he did well for the first goal, and some good combination play overall going forward.
Spot on. Aidan McGeady is next with Connor.
Oh, one of my favourites. I didn't think McGeady necessarily had a bad game today, but didn't think particularly did. It wasn't that he didn't do much, it just I didn't have many things written down for him, so I thought he was steady enough, but I gave him a 6.
6, yeah, I pretty much agreed. I've got Aidan O'Brien, I'm going to have to mark down again. Where do I start with him, actually? I mean, his assist for the first goal, very good, and then I thought he was going to kick on from there, but he didn't. His passing today, I thought, was absolutely atrocious. I think it summed it up in, I think it was the 70-odd minute he got the ball off Ledbetter and just cleared it out for a throw-in. I think he was looking to release McGeady, but it was absolutely dreadful. And he was, to be honest, rightly brought off for Chris Mcguire, so I've gone as low as a 4, I'm afraid.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
Performance.
I don't know if you disagree or not. Has anyone gone any higher than that then?
I give him a 6.
Really?
Because I thought actually in the first half he was... In the first half, I give him a 7. I thought he was really good. I thought he was one of our better players.
I think if you've got a striker who gets an assist, kind of, you can't be a 4 for me if you get an assist and you don't do much wrong. I gave him a 6.
I've given a midfielder who got an assist of 5 though. So speak as a fine name.
Not for stats. He is not interested in statistics. Just the eye test. Just
Just if you look.
Is it because he's bald? Is that why?
No, not at all. Max Power's bald. I gave him a 7. You know what I mean? I honestly thought he was poor. And I thought after Tuesday, when I thought he was very good, to be honest, I thought he would kick on, and I don't think he has. I would be tempted if Gooch was fit for Tuesday to put Gooch in ahead of him, play Gooch with Wyke, because then you've got Gooch, who can do a little bit more than what O'Brien can do. It can free up a few players and things like that. For me, he would be the one I would bring out of that team. But at the end of the day, it's opinions, isn't it? It's football. It's all about opinions. Right, Rich, you get Charlie Wyke. So we'll all have our mark on Charlie Wyke, considering he's got a hat-trick. You can go first.
I give him an 8. I think that might be being a bit harsh. I think when you go missing for 70 minutes of a football match, which he did after he scored his first goal, and then before he scored his second, then you can't be on the 9s and 10s as far as I'm concerned. But what he had to do, he did really, really well, and he scored a hat-trick. So maybe I am being harsh. Maybe it's an 8.5, but I'm going to stick with my 8.
Quickly, before I go to Connor, I've just been flagged up here for giving O'Brien a 4 and he's got an assist. Rich has gave a player who scored 3 goals at 8. So what's the difference? Anyway, Connor, what do you reckon then for White? What's your mark?
So I give him a full-on 10. Me, I was, if a striker scores a hat-trick in a game, I don't know how you irrelevant of what he does off the ball, because the off the ball stuff is irrelevant if you score a hat-trick, because if you score a hat-trick, you're pretty much guaranteed to have won the game. So it was a 10 for me. All of his goals were well taken, positionally for them, all good. So I just can't knock it. It's not like it was 3 goals that, one hit off his arse, one was a handball that he put in, and the other one was accidental deflection. There were 3 well taken goals. So it was a 10 for me.
Yeah, I've got him as a 10 as well. So yeah, I mean, this is gonna proper infuriate Bomber, isn't it? Bomber's gonna be ripping his hair out. Like I say,
well, Bomber would have gone for a 3. I think he did say that in the chat. I mean, doesn't matter that he scored a hat-trick.
You've just got to look at, though, he's won us the game. He has scored two of them 3 goals are fantastic finishes. Even for Charlie Wyke, for if any football you see there, it's great. It's a great finish. The second one especially, I thought was a fantastic goal. And fair credit to him, because he's been much maligned this season, but today he's won us the game. So yeah, he's got a perfect 10 from Ant.
Well, I'm happy to defer to the majority.
Yeah,
I'm a Democrat. I'm not going to ask for a recount or someone to find me a few more votes for my side.
We'll go into the subs. I'll have a sub each. I'll have Carl Winchester, which was his debut today. Yes, I don't think he did much when he came on. Passed the ball about nicely. I'd like to see a bit more of him, but just a steady 6. Rich, you can have Jack Diamond.
I thought he came on, he was defensively, he was quite good. Mm-hmm. You take the fact that he hit the post as well, he was really good in stretching the game. I think, the impact he had on the game, I've given him a 7.5.
Yeah, spot on. And Connor, you can have Chris Mcguire. Only on for 10 minutes, but I thought he did well when he came on.
Yeah, but also just on Jack Diamond, 7.5 for Jack Diamond, but only 0.5 more for a hat-trick here. Interesting.
He packed more into his 18, 19 minutes on the pitch than Charlie Wyke did in the 70 minutes in between his goals.
Do you know what I would say on Jack Diamond, just before I move on to Chris Mcguire, is his run for the 3rd goal probably is why we get the 3rd goal, because everyone, including me, I'm going past to Diamond. That was the obvious ball, and so I think he was pretty integral to that. In terms of Mcguire, he was on for 9 minutes, so I had nothing written down for him. I thought he was going to be an NA, to be honest. So you've thrown us on the spot there by making us give him a rating. Thus, I will give him a 5, because that's a default position.
Give him a 5.
I give him a line.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I'm not really up for NAs when he's had 10 minutes though. If it had been 2 or 3, fair enough. But 10 minutes is enough to change the game. Charlie Wyke scored 2 in 4 minutes.
He did score 2 goals while Mcguire was on the pitch.
Yeah,
and Mcguire would have technically been playing where O'Brien was, so maybe it's a bit harsh to give him an NA, but there we are.
We'll have a 5 then, We'll say a 5. Yeah. Right, we'll go on to a man of the match. Now, I really don't think there'll be anyone disagreeing with this, but Rich, we'll start with you.
Well, he's going to go with Jack Diamond there, because that's 7.5. He's number 2 on the ratings list for him.
No, it's certainly Charlie Wyke. Well done, lad.
Yeah. Connor? Wyke?
Yeah,
obviously.
Charlie Wyke. To be honest, at half-time, I was thinking it was going to be Embleton's man of the match. He was the guy I had down, but Charlie Wyke, gets it in the end. Yeah,
I've gone, surprisingly, for Charlie Wyke, but with a very credible mention to Jordan Whittlesticks. I thought that was his best game he's had all season for us, and finally looks fit, which for us moving forward is a great plus. So we'll finish off with Rate the Manager. Always an interesting article we do. So, Rich, we'll start with you with Rate the Manager.
I think you've got to give him at least 7.5 out of 10. if not 8. I think, offensive substitutions, an interest in formation, rotating players. He's done well. But I think our all-round performance needs to improve. But I think that'll come with time and more time on the training pitch.
Yep, so have you gone 7.5 or 8? I'm putting you on the spot.
8.
8, spot on. Right, Connor?
Yeah, I'd give him an 8 as well. I think he took, I would say it was a risk with the formation today. It's not a formation we've really played. It worked. While I think the performances weren't great, I think he set us up and gave us the best chance to win, and that's all a manager can do, and he gave us the best chance to win with these substitutions as well. Always positive subs, which I like after watching Jack Ross and Phil Parkinson over the last couple of years, who did not enjoy a positive substitution. So yeah, I thought, the thing with Lee Johnson that I really like is that he wants to win football matches. He'll never ever, I think, approach a game and go, "Oh, I'd take a draw today." I don't think he's going to be that kind of manager, and I would rather win 10 games and lose 10 games than win 5, draw 5, lose 10, or win 5, draw 8, whatever. You'd far rather pick up the win. So I give him an 8.
Yeah, I've given him an 8 as well. Mostly based on the substitutions, as what you pointed out. I mean, we'll go back to Phil Parkinson. He would never have brought Jack Diamond on, would he? And that he never did anyway, did he? He was always on the bench and he was never brought on. And Jack Diamond's a good footballer, and it did kind of change the game, the way he kind of played. So credit to him, and fingers crossed. This is the start of a really good week for us. We've got Plymouth on Tuesday and Shrewsbury on Saturday, I believe. 2 massive games, both at home, aren't they? So we should be looking for another 6 points there. So a really steady 8. And yeah, we'll leave it at that, lads. Chuffed a bit for a change on this podcast. So Rich, thank you very much for joining us.
No worries.
Cheers, Connor, and enjoy your YouTube video making after this. I'm sure it'll be pleasant.
I might actually leave it for Sunday, just so I'm not doing back to back.
Too much excitement in one day, is it?
Too much fatigue talking about Sunderland.
Fair play, yeah. And thank you very much, everybody. We will see you all down the line. Cheers and take care.